Hey guys, it's Kez. I've got my Crocs on today, so that basically means that there's a protest. For those of you who haven't been following the Australian politics, basically within the Liberal Party, which is equivalent to the Conservative Party, the leader was Malcolm Turnbull. There's been a change. They want to get him out and put a different leader in, and one of the options was a man called Peter Dutton, and so they wanted to come out and protest him because they think that he's a racist, he's awful, he's terrible. However, he didn't actually win. It was another guy called Scott Morrison. But it doesn't matter, we can still protest him because he's also a racist, hateful man. So let's go and protest tonight.
Close the camps! Bring them here! Close the camps! Bring them here!
Tell us why we're protesting tonight, what we're out here for.
We're protesting Scott Morrison and his leadership, his current leadership.
Do you think that Scott Morrison is worse than Malcolm Turnbull?
I can't say for certain because I'm not too sure about Scott Morrison in particular, but I would hazard a guess that they're all as bad as each other and they're all fucking scum and they should all burn in hell.
Can you tell us what we're protesting today?
We're protesting against the new Prime Minister, Scott Morrison.
Why?
Because, well, he's a far-right nationalist. He was behind the sovereign borders and all that,
YouTube.
Well, we thought that we'd be protesting Peter Dutton Prime Ministership tonight. It's a Scott Morrison one, but I think it's not really that much different, actually. It doesn't matter, even if Julie Bishop had won tonight. What we would have been seeing is a Liberal Party that's shifting to the right, and that fits a pattern of something that's been happening all around the world.
What are some things that they have done that really just get under your skin and you say that enough is enough?
Well, I never voted for Liberal in the first place because they basically are against everything that I believe in, which is multiculturalism, diversity, fair education, healthcare, and Medicare and Centrelink for poor people.
I know that Morrison hasn't even assumed the Prime Ministership yet. I think that happens tomorrow. But we just know that even before day one, this bastard is going to be attacking working class people. It's going to be attacking refugees, Muslims. There's a lot of anti-Chinese racism that's creeping back in from the fringes as well. And the left is here to say, we don't want to borrow that, and we're going to fight him every time there's an attack and before there's an attack because we have a totally different vision of society.
I've already seen instances of hate speech and blatant hate speech. It's fascist. And I understand people throw around the word fascism kind of willy-nilly, but honestly, the way we treat immigrants and refugees is eerily similar to the way fascists back in the World War II days treated people that they demonized. So I guess that's all.
So prison camps and things like that.
Well, I don't know if that is the right way to refer to things.
I see a feminist pin here.
Yeah, of course.
Are you a feminist?
100%.
What are the big issues in feminism that we're fighting for today?
Well, there's the big one, which is the obvious pay gap. There's just the fact that the women can't go down the street safely at night and be like, hey, I can wear this, I can wear that. It's the fact that people still have to walk down with fear, and also trans women are real women. That's also an issue that's very, very downplayed, and I find that that's terrible because everyone deserves a right at life. Trans women, everybody.
So ways that trans women are being mistreated and said that they're not women. Explain that to me.
Okay, well, it's pretty much an example of, someone identifies as a woman and someone goes, you're not a woman. Just because you have a penis, that makes you a man. That's misgendering, and I find that it's offensive and kind of disgusting, to be honest.
Yeah.
And also, Turnbull put everyone through that fucking marriage equality plebiscite or whatever it was.
The plebiscite. But it ended up getting marriage equality through, actually. So now it's legal in Australia.
I know that.
Yeah.
But the fact that he put literally everyone in the queer community through it.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. It's not a triumph for Malcolm Turnbull to have, when he could have just had it gone through straight away.
Yeah.
He could have realised what the people wanted and had it gone through straight away.
Yeah.
But instead he put everyone through this horrendous debate where we were dragged through the mud, where we had people telling us, because I'm queer, we had people telling us we're scum and we don't deserve marriage equality and we don't deserve the same rights as straight people.
Well, it all depends on what you identify as, really. So if you identify as this, you're that.
individual than gender-based. I think identity is an individual construct. It's not to do with your assigned gender. It's to do with how you personally convey yourself to the people around you.
So how many genders are there?
Well, it's a spectrum, like Bill Nye once said, and I thought that was pretty cool. There was a lot of backlash on that, but I feel like, it's a spectrum, so it can range from whatever.
What do you identify as?
Oh, I'm a cis man.
Everyone in the queer community is still hurt by it.
So what could Malcolm Turnbull or now Scott Morrison do to remedy the situation or apologise? What could make the situation better?
Getting out of Parliament, letting the Greens take over. Fuck bigots.
Who's a bigot? Who's a bigot?
Scott Morrison.
Yeah. Who else?
Fuck Scott Morrison. Fuck the libs. They're all cunts. They can go to hell.
Every single one of them?
Every single Liberal member party can go to hell.
What about people who vote Liberal?
They can go to hell too.
Every single one of them?
Every single person who
There's
votes
not
for Liberal.
one single person?
No, they're voting. If they're voting for Liberal, you're voting for bigotry, you're voting for hatred, you're voting for anti-queerness, like homophobia, you're voting for for rich people to get tax cuts. You're not voting for the people. You're voting to get more money, and I don't think anyone who votes Liberal deserves to have a vote.
I think that we've tried reforming capitalism many times. The system always gets worse because it's got inherent contradictions. And look at it, it's runaway capitalism right now. We're hurdled for climate disaster. Inequality is an all-time high in human history. The system's a problem. We've got to get rid of the system and replace it with workers' control of society. That's what I think.
So what's a country that we can look up to as a socialist country that we can look up to as to follow them?
Well, there aren't any today.
Why not?
Well, because there's a whole bunch of countries that call themselves socialists or communists, but they're not. Like, the working class isn't in power in those countries. What we're talking about is something totally different. Turn society upside down, have the majority running the show for once. Yeah.
So what you're saying is there's not been a country that has been able to represent true socialism yet?
We've seen glimpses of it in human history, but I would say yes, there's not a single place in the world today where we see genuine socialism.
They say that the gender pay gap is not real. What do you say to people who say that it's been debunked a number of times?
Well, ask anyone who's suffering from the pay gap and they'll tell you otherwise. Like recently there was, I forgot which celebrity it was, but they were getting paid $8 million less than their male co-partner. Their male partner, counterpart sort of thing,
It's crazy because it is actually illegal to pay someone less because of their gender or things. So it's crazy that there's not a whole bunch of court cases going on.
I personally have a big qualm with gender inequality right now. Because I was walking down the street in Fortitude Valley about a month or two ago and I got kidnapped and held hostage for 3 days.
All right, guys, we are marching once again, I think for the refugees. I also think against Scott Morrison. Do you know what? To be perfectly honest, I have no idea why we're marching, but we're doing it because we want to fight racism. Let's go and march and make sure you subscribe and good. Bye.
Well, for your viewers, if you would like to know more about socialism, you should read this awesome radical left-wing newspaper I write for, Red Flag. It's the best place to get your head around Marxist ideas and come to the Socialism Conference in Sydney next weekend.
Amazing.